Oh, shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome back to the 20-Sided Archives. I am Eli, the Archivist and Dungeon Master. With me, as always, are these three chuckle fucks.
Say something, Fizzle.
Thanks to that. I've been pretty good today.
We are now on episode 6 of chapter 1 of Umaria, which is nuts.
Woo!
Let us begin with a quick little summary as to what happened last time. You all had arrived within the village of Emmanuel after the combat encounter that happened with the chief and turning him to normal again. The village healers and Daria, in a collaborative effort, spread the potion out to those who were sick and under the influence of the blight curse that had befallen the village. And in doing so, you guys had spent the next few days or so resting, helping out where you can, doing things that you desire to do. Chisel had an epiphany about memories of his childhood and growing up within the mountains. Seven had an encounter in the forest with Barun once more, post-combat, discovering a corrupted rabbit. And Redwood spoke with the Princess Arissa Blackthorn of the Spring Court in the Feywilds to understand natural magic of being a wizard. It is a cold morning. Snow is actually falling and the sky is somewhat gray as you all wake up. It's not necessarily early when you guys awaken. Shrub had been sitting in the fire pit of the home for the entire night, keeping everybody warm, regulating it. You hear a knock of wood against stone, and Ven Kashali's voice as he speaks. Hello? Are you three in there?
Oh, yeah, we're in here. Ah, Vin, actually, just the man I wanted to see. How are you doing?
This was a bad time to shove Chick-fil-A into my mouth. Hang on.
It's never a bad time for Chick-fil-A.
Ven, what is Chick-fil-A?
Shut up! How can I help you, Seven?
Yeah, so, when I was hunting yesterday in the woods, I came across this little fella as I show him the corrupted rabbit.
The rabbit... Have you done anything to the rabbit, or have you just left it as is?
I just left it as is, because Simon's like, he doesn't know the intricacies of all this corruption and stuff. People like Fen do. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it to him, see what he can do with it.
Ven...
Wait, you found corrupted Petrolife?
I?
Ven narrows his eyes at it for a moment before reaching into his bag,
It's
pulling...
a veiny little fuckericity.
Yes, it's odd. For those who don't remember what the rabbit looked like, it was an albino rabbit, red eyes, white fur, but it had fangs and purple lightning-like veins that were glowing underneath the fur before they were dulled, but you can still see the pattern from the skin of the lightning marks, darker though it is. You watch as Venkashali pulls out a cloth from within his bag, having unshouldered it, before taking the rabbit from you, Seven, and tying and wrapping it up, and goes, I am going to take some time studying this, if that's alright.
Oh yeah, that's why I gift wrapped it for you.
Excellent, thank you. He puts it in his bag and goes, there is one thing I can easily notice. When did you say you got this again?
It was yesterday.
Typically the body of a dead creature or if a person begins to bloat, the gas, the natural process of decaying becomes more aired out as the body begins to sort of dissolve. This corpse hasn't done that yet.
Aye.
Typically, that happens within at least a few hours after the creature is deceased. So this is an odd thing.
Honestly, then, ever since we started this journey, everything's been odd.
I cannot blame you for that one. I should also mention, I said this to Redwood the other day. I will not be journeying with all of you to your next destination.
Alright then, suit yourself. Where are you going anyway?
I have some matters to handle down in Fastial really quickly, and then I will be heading to the Golden Sanctum, where I am hoping to help with the studies and the things that are occurring over there.
Well, good luck to you then.
He nods and goes, then picks up his bag and all that, and grabs his staff and goes, I wish you all luck. Hopefully we will see each other again within the coming days. However, if you do need my assistance for anything, and he reaches into his various robes and stops for a moment before going, I swear I put it somewhere. And he kind of scurries around in pockets and stuff before going, aha! And he pulls out a small little yellow sort of like jewel or gem of some sort and puts it in your hand in exchange for the rabbit. Goes, that is a 3-time use stone that will allow you to contact me.
As you explain this, Devin's just kind of holding up to whatever little light there is at this time of day, like looking at it. Hey, alright. Casually tosses it towards Redwood's lap.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
Ven-
You're better with those magical things than I, so you hold on to it.
There
Of course.
is a word that you will need to speak in order to activate it.
and
Banana.
that is?
Where is the word that I mentioned?
Is it pineapple?
It is not pineapple.
Is it pine cone?
I could go for some pine cones too.
Come on.
A pine tree does not grow apples.
Aye, we never said they did.
You can't have a pineapple.
Yeah, what is a pineapple?
It's this little thorny fruit.
Hang on.
Um, okay. Cool.
Devin noses
An apple?
bleeds. Anywho,
Well, an apple is a fruit, so it's fair to assume. But why? And pine trees do have spines. I guess that does make sense. It's an apple that has spines.
aye.
How do you get a pine tree to grow apples?
I don't think it's a little pine tree that grows them.
I
Well,
have.
Why would you call it a pineapple?
Sorry, that took me a second. I have the.
I
word.
didn't name it.
I have the word now.
What does an apple look like?
Oh my god, here we go.
Devin, I imagine, grabs into Redwood's satchel, pulls an apple out, and tosses it at Chisel.
My
Don't.
Devin, you don't have fruits or vegetables in your bag. Use your own.
Wait. What? Who's throwing at me?
Seven, I would like you to
An
roll an attack to hit.
Oh, with advantage, because just.
Yeah, with
Go ahead.
advantage, because he's blind.
Actually, no, I have the alert feat, so it's not with advantage. But still.
Okay. Oh, that's an 8 on the die. Or not on the die, but total.
Okay.
It doesn't hit.
That doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit. Instead, it like smashes against the wall. You threw it a little bit. Actually,
With an 8.
Seven, roll me an insight check.
Oh, okay.
No,
Oh,
not
my
an,
apple.
not an insight perception. My god, I'm all over the place.
Perception. Okay. It was
Roll
the
a deception
same
check on the apple.
22.
22. You throw this apple, intending to gently kind of toss it to Chisel so he can catch it. Doesn't happen. Instead, you throw the apple hard. And you realize that before you were able to easily gauge your own strength. You're an archer, you're a hunter, it's part of what you do. But this time is not one of those moments. In fact, you think you underestimated something in yourself, and you're not entirely sure. And then you remember not necessarily altercation, but the conversation that you had with Balrune. You check your arms, and right where, like, just above where your armpit is, like that joint spot between the shoulder and the arm, purple veins are beginning to be shown and seen from where your shirt begins. Or like the sleeve of your shirt.
Can I go one day without bare ass pestering me?
Evan, don't hit the blind man with an apple.
I
wasn't planning on hitting him. I was gonna throw it like I threw the stone to you.
That was pretty fucking fast.
What happened?
Accidents happen.
I heard a thunk. What happened?
I would like you to increase your strength score.
Oh, by how much?
Hang on, let me open your character sheet, which is taking forever.
It's currently at a 12.
I want you to increase your strength score by 2.
Okay.
That's kind of
No.
sad. The
Well,
archer
to
now
be-
has a higher strength than the fighter.
Wait, what's your strength?
13.
I don't know, man. Just get possessed by the fucking weird ass slug thing.
Wait, if I
Hey.
do that, may I be able to see?
No. No.
Yeah, if you want Balrune, I'll happily give you him.
Yeah, I don't mind having a pet.
He is not
Well,
a pet. He is
Become
not
a
a
pet,
pet.
mostly.
But that, you kind of flex your hand for a moment. Grumble out your sentence in frustration, and then Kashala goes, okay, that was interesting. Redwood.
Yes?
The words that you are looking for is Vin Flair. Vinnflair.
Why the flare? I understand the first bit being relative to you.
Or was that just a coincidence?
You will find out when you use the stone.
Is it going to get wider? Why would flare? What?
Well, it could be flare as in fire, which could be a problem for you.
Oh,
Or it's flare, or it's flare as in it's very flashy and showy.
You'll find out. Just channel your magic into it, speak the words, and then you should be fine. Again, remember, 3 uses. After that, the stone will disintegrate. And I wish you all luck, but I must begin my travels.
Hey, good travels for you, good sir.
I wish you all luck in figuring it out, whatever it is that you're trying to figure out. He smiles, does a bow, and begins heading out, quickly being stopped by Daria and her family. You actually see the chief for the first time. He is this big... The chief was exceptionally large when you guys had encountered him in his transformed state. But now, while he is smaller, you can tell that he is still a very big man. He is very burly, big, bushy, longish beard, deep brown, along with some long hair that looks somewhat like he looks like he has a lion's mane encasing his head and his lower half of his face. He's got markings that are not too unlike that of Nestor and Piper's, lined and the like. He wears a similar braided leather band around his head, somewhat more ornate to show his status. He uses a staff, which he seems to be leaning into a little bit, but he looks very well. He doesn't look like he was sick for however long he was in bed for. And he smiles, shakes Venkashali's hand, bids him farewell, and you see him turn and approach the three of you. You see that as he approaches as well, he walks with a limp. So he uses the staff next to him to basically as a walking stick. He's wearing various leathers, shirtless, and you can see various, his hands are calloused, his skin is weathered. This is a man very much used to outdoor work. And he's got these very bright green eyes as he approaches.
Hello, sir?
Hi, morning, Chief.
Good morning. I hear you are the three who saved my life.
Hey.
Well, kind of.
I owe you my thanks and my gratitude.
I hate to delve, right into it, but how did you get the curse?
That's the thing. I don't quite remember.
Ah. Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, kind of saw that coming.
I do remember that it was right when the fall season began. Right when the leaves began changing color.
How long ago would that be for us?
That would have been 3
weeks.
months ago. So he's been bedridden for 3 months.
May I make a history check? I'm pretty much just trying to compare the Chief's story, what happened to him, and compare it to Devon's, see if there's anything that matches up, like a pattern.
Roll me a history check, but with disadvantage.
Okay. 6.
Nothing that he is saying aligns up with your story. Because remember, your story happened when you were very young.
Yeah.
His happened only 3 months ago.
Yeah. Worth a shot.
I will say there was also some very large differences between your transformation and what you looked like in that state versus what he looked like.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to make those kind of connections is a little difficult right now. He nods and goes, I hear that you are all traveling to the Dead Mire.
Aye.
Is that where we're going?
I mean, after we ran through what we all need to do, just kind of makes sense to go south and work counterclockwise back up top.
Clock?
There is no clocks in this world. Just...
Evan's eyes begin to bleed.
Are you okay? Are you alright?
Oh, that's never happened before.
That is not Babaroon doing it. Seven's eyes are just straight up bleeding for no reason.
Oh, we don't know. Okay, Redwood immediately looks around for any celestial object. He looks at the stone in his hand. He quickly shoves that in his bag.
It was like a couple drops, so it's not severe bleeding, but it's hey. You all... He just kind of chuckles for a moment and goes, well, while most of us here after yesterday are not exactly fighters. I can say that whatever you may encounter at some point within your travels, you have my and my family and the village's support for whatever you need, be it supplies, a place of rest, several hands.
Oh, that's much appreciated, Chief. So, quick question before we leave: if we could have probably some rations for the road.
I can
Evan, you are a hunter.
I can actually do you one better.
Hmm?
And you hear the sound of cloth moving and the sound of feathers being ruffled slightly as the chief moves to the side to show the princess, who was just standing a few feet behind, and started moving in partway through your conversation. She smiles and goes,
Allowing.
"Good morning, you three.
Aye, morning.
Hello?
I will make your lives a little easier, and I can get you all to the Dead Maya."
Oh, through all those fancy magical steppy things.
Oh, we'll call them that. And she seems to smile a little bit. If anyone wants to roll me an insight check, you guys can.
Sure. Hey, 19.
22.
5.
Poor Chisel.
Chisel, you think that she is just genuinely, happy to see you guys. Seven and Redwood.
I don't know what's happening, so...
Yeah,
meh.
Seven and Redwood, you take a look at the princess, and you can tell that, well, yes, she is doing this out of kindness and because of respect for you guys. You can tell that since she's a little bit more advanced than you guys, she finds your guys' explanation for portals really fucking funny. Because, there's an official term for it that she's so used to using with other people, and so for someone to go, the magic steppy thingies, is really funny to her.
We are caveman. Fire. Ooga booga.
Ma'am, everybody on this planet has different life experiences. Please respect ours.
She's not trying to be offensive. I would also like to make that clear. She just thinks it's a little funny because she's being thrown back into she's being reminded that there are differences. So do you say that, or do you retract your statement?
No, I'm gonna say that.
Okay. The princess just nods and goes, "Of course. But I can help you all get to the Dead Maya, or close to the village that you all need to get to."
Well,
Where
I
are we
suppose-
going in the Dead Maya? Seven.
If I recall, it's Flazath, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Like Zath. So
Flazath. Yeah,
you
that
do,
one.
You do pronounce the C. She nods and goes, "Yes, I will be able to drop you within the woods of the Dead Mire. A little bit south of it, but I will be able to get you all there."
That would be very wonderful.
The chief then goes, "And we can give you any necessary arrows and rations that you may need for your stay."
I think I'm running low on some sugar bread. Would be a real help if we have some more of that.
He
It's too sweet.
The chief just kind of nods and he goes, "My wife did tell me about your affinity for the stuff." And you see him take two fingers, puts them between his lips, and whistles. And the baker that you had met several days beforehand approaches. Dwarven man, big, burly, and with him is a decent-sized sack of sugar bread in his hands.
Oh, thank you very much.
Consider that it's on the house, as he hands it to you. With him as well are several other items, and the chief goes, "We have a couple of other things that we would like to give you before you leave." He gives you, Redwood, a beautiful golden oak leaf with a single, like, gemstone at the base of the leaf's stem, and of amber color.
Oh, what is this?
This is a magical item. When attuned to this item, you can cast a maximum of 2 cleric spells, 2 cleric cantrips of your choice, and you can only use it again after finishing a long rest. Along with that, you have a small pool of lay on hands for a total of 10 HP max. This is called the Oak Leaf of the Gods.
Oh, that is most interesting.
Ven Kashale.
Why are you? What?
Ven Kashale told me everything that happened and transpired when you went to go and get the holly. I figured this might help a little bit with that. You have healing spells, but as far as I'm aware, you don't necessarily have healing. So, figured it could be useful.
It absolutely would be useful. Thank you. Do you, I give something in exchange? What?
He puts his hands up and kind of shakes his head, saying, "Consider it as part of your reward for helping my people."
That's the kind of thing you gotta get used to, Redwood, when we start saving villages and all that and doing favors. People tend to want to give you stuff.
I will wear it with honor.
It is a brooch that you can put on your clothing somewhere if you wish.
A brooch?
Like a cloak brooch.
Brooch.
Brooch. Is that how it's pronounced?
That's how it's pronounced.
It's a brooch, not brooch.
Oh
Wow.
my god.
I think.
Wait, you've been calling it brooch?
Look,
Yeah.
man, when you see a word, it looks like it's pronounced brooch the way it's spelled.
That is
fair.
That is fair.
I'm just gonna eat
Um,
a Chick-fil-A sandwich in silence.
Redwood is going to pin it to the little hanging fabric sash he's got on his side. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna let everyone else gather their supplies, well, honestly, I don't know how to end the conversation properly, but we should probably get moving.
I mean, there's something for Chisel?
Ah, there is.
What?
He kneels down to your height, Chisel. And you feel him place something upon your head for a moment. What everyone else sees is a intricately woven headband, similar in style to what he is wearing himself, but with 3 gemstones in it of an emerald color. And he goes, and he whispers a word. And for the first time in years, you can see.
They cured blindness.
This only lasts for a total of 2 hours, and you can only reuse it again the next dawn.
That was a horrible time to take a bite of my hamburger.
Yeah, you have the circlet of veil passing. So you are now able to see for 2 hours every day, resets at the next dawn. But you can see. How does Chisel react?
Well, Chisel's actually just going to slightly reach out for the chief. Just basically touching what he can see currently.
The chief.
Before it just starts bawling.
The chief gently pats your shoulder and goes, I must say, while I do not recall much of the fight, I do remember a young man who was blind, who smacked my ass off of a platform specifically built to keep me imprisoned. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm grateful that there was someone who was able to kick the shit out of me.
If you
That was the problem with
need
the
it to
chief
happen
straight
again,
up.
just send someone for me. I'll do it anytime if it makes me able to see.
The chief
You're
gives you a hug.
Just Chisel just starts collapsing. This is the first time the party has seen Chisel be this emotional. The not so happy smile that we've seen. This is Chisel just very vulnerable.
To answer your question, Casey, that you messaged me, your substitute would be a pinch of shrub's fur. He then looks to you, Thevin, and goes, now, the sugar bread is more of a thank you from the people. And you watch him reach into a bag, and he pulls out a ring. It's very odd considering the ring is made of stone, but it's a dark color, obsidian. He hands it to you. Despite how roughly carved it is, it still has that smooth texture from being, well, obsidian. This is a ring of forced transformation.
Devin's eyes kind of widen. It's like, oh, so you're saying that whole beastly thing, I can enter it at will?
You can enter it at will, but be very, very careful. Because... So basically, this ring will allow you to, once a day, transform at will in combat as a bonus action into that berserker state without dropping your HP. However, if you wish to untransform, you will need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Redwood, do me a favor. Roll me a very quick history check.
Well, alrighty. Natural one.
Seems familiar. You don't know why, though. Or the leaf feels familiar.
I realized I was muted when you told me the reply. For everyone else, the thing I was asking is copper wire does not exist, so the message spell is technically unusable.
Oof.
But
So that's what they were saying is I can use Shrub's Fur as a replacement.
because Shrub is a magical being.
Okay.
The princess claps her hands together and goes, "Does everyone have everything? Are they ready? Are you all ready to depart?"
Thevin slips on the ring to the hand that normally holds the bow, and he's just kind of twisting it, fidgeting with it on his finger. Hey, I think we're good.
Excellent. She approaches the side of the house that you are all have been residing in for the past couple of days, opens her hands up, puts them in a triangle position before expanding and opening a oval-like portal in the side of the home. Typically, when one puts a hole in something, you expect to see inside the object, but instead you see the swamp and marshlands of the Dead Mire. It is as gray as it was there, but considering it's further down south and not as close to the mountains as Emmanuel is, it's humid, somewhat foggy, and a little bit warmer than the current temperature you're all in, and you can feel it hit you as wind gushes through the portal and into your guys' faces.
Why is it sticky?
It's a mire, my lad. Swamp.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
The
Plant life with a lot of water nearby. Okay.
The princess nods and goes, "I hate to be a downer for a new view, but I can only hold this open for so long."
Hey, alright.
Yes, of course.
Let's go, lads, let's go. As Thevin grabs all his stuff and is the first to take the step through the portal.
Redwood leans back and grabs Shrub by the scruff of their neck and run us through the portal.
She releases a bit of a shriek for a moment, not expecting to suddenly get picked up like that.
No time.
A little warning next time!
No time.
Chisel, do you go in?
I think Chisel's being a little overwhelmed with all the colors.
Chisel, there are plenty of colors. We have to move now.
Why did no one tell me everything was so pretty?
What's the point in telling you if you couldn't have seen it?
The chief just kind of picks you up underneath your arms and places you through the other side of the portal. And kind of basically...
Why is it sticky?
The chief smiles and goes, "We wish you luck." He waves, and you see Nestor, Piper, and Daria behind him also waving. The princess nods in respect, moves her hands away, and the portal closes.
Once we're all through, Thevin just kind of takes a deep breath, like, "Well, boys, welcome to the Dead Mire."
Okay.
It's sticky and wet.
It's a swamp.
Can I go back home?
Not yet.
Jared, if you would please put on music that feels a little bit more
Boop,
suitable for
A swamp?
for a swamp. Yes.
I'll see what I can find.
I swear, if you put on Smash Mouth, I'm going to laugh.
Somebody once told me.
DMCA is a thing, guys.
What?
We didn't even finish the first line.
DMCA. If he puts on Smash Mouth, there's a good chance that her account might get scooted from the internet.
That's an old enough song. I think we're past the copyright.
No, we're
Copy-
not.
Smash Mouth is still alive and well.
Still copyrighted.
This might be too whimsical, but it's the best I got right now. I might find something better. But let's just do this for now.
Chisel,
Yeah.
since we're seeing interesting stuff right now, do you want to try something new?
I will give a quick description of the Dead Mire.
Okay.
The Dead Mire has a natural sort of humidity to it. As Chisel had described it, it's somewhat sticky. Which is odd. You guys you're not unused to humidity, but it's more something that you're used to experiencing in the summer, not in the colder months. The air doesn't necessarily smell unclean, but it has that smell of dirty water and earthy undertones to it. There are various vines and willow trees, low-hanging vegetation from the area around you. You see gnarled roots from trees and shrubs coming out of water where the trees had originally planted themselves in. The land has a sort of natural green and brown undertone to all of its colors. It's darker here, simply due to the natural amount of shade that this bog provides itself. In the distance, you hear the sounds of clicking noises. If someone wants to make a nature check, they can.
Alright.
Nat 20.
Ow.
Holy shit.
Okay. You all can tell that that's the sound of gators. Those
Something
are...
in the water.
There... Chisel, because you got a nat fucking 20 on your nature check, you know that the sound...
For a mountain boy, he knows things.
He knows things. That sounds close. But you're on land. And the land isn't dry either, by the way. There are very few patches of it that seems like solid, dry, compact dirt. Everything's a little soggy here.
It's in my shoes.
Do you all...
Careful around the water, lads.
Right.
Never knowing when one of those gators might jump up and snap your hand off.
There's a little different plan from earlier. Everyone gather here for a quick second.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
Everyone within 30 feet of me has a +10 to Dex, can't be tracked except by magic, and we leave no tracks or traces of our passage. And as I cast the spell, he puts the tips of his fingers to his chest and then quickly thrusts his hands to the floor as this small little cloud of green with the tinges of red spreads across the floor and sort of wraps around people's feet.
Oh, wait, that's a very useful spell there.
There are
Could
big
use it
things
on
in the
some of my
water
help.
there are big things that might kill us in this water, and I would rather they not.
Hey,
So
I
move
think
quietly and move close.
last time I was here, I think I heard a rumor about a large beastie they called the Boss. It's this big and nasty beast that lives in the Dead Mire.
Yes, I'd rather our first introduction to the Dead Maya not be dead.
I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah.
I'd rather not add to it. They said,
The dead Mire.
we were told we would be south of Plexus, so which way's north?
Nature check, look at the sun.
Wisdom check, do not look at
Or
the sun.
would this be more survival? I think it's gonna be more survival.
It would be survival.
Yeah.
18.
15.
Redwood, you look up. You follow as much of the sun's movement as you can. The shadows on the ground being many but helpful. And you begin your
It's
journey.
early morning. It's early morning, the sun's that way, so north.
Begin your journey. Remind me, Pass without a trace also gives a +10 to stealth, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I feel like Thevin is leading the way as he has been to the Dead Mire before.
Mr. Ranger, what is your favorite terrain?
I did not take favorite terrain. I did the optional stuff.
Ew.
So,
You mean the better stuff?
I'm going to need
Yes.
everyone, since you are trying to be sneaky, to roll me a stealth check.
I'm just gonna roll stealth and add 10 to it.
Natural 20.
That's a 19.
Okay.
Unless we have advantage, in which case that would be a net 20.
You
Nat
don't-
20.
Wow.
I didn't even need the spell.
In this household, we honor nat 20s.
Indeed.
I would also, since you all succeeded on your stealth checks, roll me perception checks.
I don't have disadvantage if it's.
Oh, I'm just not rolling well right now, aren't I?
You don't have disadvantage, but still can't see for shit.
I'm being overwhelmed by colors I do not know the names of.
That's fair.
That is my only saving grace, and that is my headcanon currently.
If he had that disadvantage, it'd be a 1. Natural fucking 1.
Redwood. You're moving. You're very in tune with the land. It doesn't matter where you go. Wind passes through, shuffling and shaking the branches and the hanging vegetation of the vines. Tall grass and reeds close to water shake somewhat as well from the wind. Jared, I know I just asked you to change music, but could you change it to something a little bit more ominous for me, please?
Okie dokie.
But we rolled those natural 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's try this.
That has to be like the wildest stealth check. Everyone has a +10 and we got 3 natural 20s.
You
That might be a little more epic, but let me find something else real quick.
you all Redwood, as you're moving, you get the sense of something. Something that you don't like feeling, but is very prominent and still obviously there. You are being watched.
Is this the same watched as the arcane stuff before?
No.
I'm being watched by a lot of stuff.
There was
Okay.
that one was more of a like, oh, someone's keeping an eye on me. This is more of a something found me and is following me.
Alright, the magic's not working as well as we thought. Everyone keep your guard up. We may be moving quietly, but they're... Can't shake the feeling something has noticed us. Keep your footing. Thevin, keep your bow ready.
Aye, it's already out and drawn, my friend.
Speaking of Chisel,
Yes.
what's your AC?
14.
Oh. We honor nat 20s in this house. Get shot.
And they can't get advantage if they are not seen by me
Okay,
because of the alert feat.
got it. With an 18, you all hear a something starts to whiz in the air before you feel something prick within your neck, Chisel. I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw from you.
23.
You don't go down, but you stumble for a moment, and you feel woozy, and you reach up to your neck and you pull away a dart.
Boy, Chisel, can I take that for a sec? Thevin's going to Thevin's going to investigate the dart to see if I can define its origins, so to speak.
Roll me investigation with disadvantage.
Okay. That's a 4.
It's been a very long time since you've been to the Dead Mire.
You might not be my favorite fan in this moment, but I'm going to use the new Oak Leaf for the Gods, spend 5 lay on hands points, and cure a natural poison.
Okay. He wasn't poisoned.
Or one disease.
It wasn't diseased either.
This is bad. I'm going to just pick up Chisel.
Okay. When you go and do that, roll me a. What's your AC again?
Me?
My
Redwood.
16?
Wow. So what are these rolls?
Is that a good or a bad?
That is a bad. You feel something hit your arm. A similar thump sound.
Hold on. Fucking.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Hold on. Damn, I can't see it. Okay.
You
11.
Redwood, you are
were
unconscious.
Oh,
Seeing
fabulous.
Redwood go down, Thevin immediately tries to discern where the shot came from.
That also dispels Pass Without Trace, because that's concentration.
7. Roll me perception or investigation with disadvantage.
Let's go with perception. That is more.
May I do one as well?
You would
Since
have
I'm still up?
You are up, but you would have disadvantage both because of the drowsiness that you were feeling and also because of other factors.
Perception, correct?
Yes.
So,
13.
not really sure how to apply canny on roll 20, so that's a 12.
Both of you watch as your very tall friend, druid, naturally attuned to a lot of things within nature, suddenly drop. His body hits the ground with a solid thump. Shrub immediately basically puts herself on top of him, covering his face with her body. Starts growling. You hear another "Foop" as a dart hits Shrub. I'm going to need a con saving throw from Shrub.
Dope. 21.
Shrub doesn't go down, but she is very much shaky on her feet. She is on high alert. Seven, Chisel, you start looking around the trees and the shrubs and the bushes around you. You hear the footsteps, but you cannot see where they're coming from. It feels like they're coming from everywhere, or that there might be multiple. 7, what is your AC, my friend?
16.
Ooh, you hear a dart hiss past you, but instead of hitting you at all, you watch as the colorful feathers of the dart whiz past and hit the tree behind you.
After that, Devin's kind of still keeping out of where they are. Most likely they're moving around so that they're hard to see. So he is darting his eyes around the forest of the swamp. And he just yells out, "All right, we know you're there. Why don't you come on it and we settle this peacefully? Or I put an arrow through your skull."
You hear a language that is foreign to you. It sounds very clicky and very much like noises in the throat.
God of World?
So just so we're clear, I know Draconic, Dwarven, Elvish, Giant, and Orc.
It is none of these languages.
Okay.
You hear the sounds. They're very clicky, they're very deep. And then finally you hear several thump, 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 as multiple bodies come out of the trees around you. You see that they are wearing garments of natural vegetation of the area mixed with leather and bark. Some of them have dirt caking their bodies to better blend in with the area around them. They're all wearing masks carved from wood and stone, and there's one particular person who has a very vibrant white mask, almost as if it was made from ivory, carved. They're all painted with intricate designs. You cannot see where they are seeing out of, as the eyes are just these black circles. And one person is wearing a very interesting sort of multicolored feather headdress. There's some war paint on some of them. There are men and women within the group. The men are shirtless, the women are covered, obviously. They're all wielding various weapons, the leader of which is holding this interesting looking spear. It is wood, but the tip of the stone spear is jagged, and it is four-pointed, so it's not just your standard two-pointed spear. Or two-sided spear, I should say. You see also on the leader's back is a set of dual swords that are curved stone, wrapped with leather at their handles. This woman that approaches is very much covered in vibrant paints and colors that are still very much stand out compared to the rest of them, and she is the one wearing the ivory mask as she speaks in tongues that you do not understand. She's wiry, well built. Her hands are calloused as she holds the spear and smacks it against the ground twice with a resounding thud noise as the people around you begin to close in.
So, we're doing this then. Seven readies his bow to fire at the leader.
You hear the sound of clicking, and then like the sound of their tongues and their language. And the leader raises her fist, and everyone ceases their movement, but their weapons are still very much trained on you. One second, uno momento.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Seven would whisper down to, "Oi! Chisel! Shrub! You good?"
You
Come on.
You hear a voice that you haven't heard in years speak to you. It's been a long time, brother.
Seven's eyes widen as his bow slowly lowers. It's you.
She reaches for the base of her mask under her chin and pulls it up and rests it at the top of her head. Chisel, you see as the effects of whatever was injected into you begins to wear off. Someone who looks similar to Seven. Elven. But her one ear has been clipped, so it's uneven, asymmetrical. She's got a long scar that goes from her right temple over her cheek, over the bridge of her nose, and down to the corner of her left jaw, accompanied by a smaller one that goes over her lip and stops at her chin. Her eyes are these vibrant blue, similar to that of Seven's, and her hair is similarly dark, but it is wild and long, braided with various beads of wood and stone and feathers.
Very pretty. And it's just Chisel just stumbles and falls onto his back.
Seven kind of just sighs. I'm gonna blame that on the toxins.
So you finally show up.
I mean, when family calls, right? As he holds up the, I believe it was a necklace.
Yes, it was a necklace.
Yeah.
She looks at it and scowls. So you're here for the village, then?
I suppose.
She nods, speaks in that same language to her people surrounding her, and one of them picks up Redwood, slings him over their shoulder, grabs the bag that had fallen from Redwood, and Shrub kind of jumps up onto Redwood's back and just kind of lays there, trying to sort of get the toxins out of her system. Another person comes and helps Chisel to his feet, picks him up, carries them over his shoulder as well.
You're very strong.
After a few moments of traveling in silence, you hear her go, "We're here." She grabs a series of vines that are covering the stone cave and pulls them back to reveal people all in this large encavement. You see that there are several tunnels going off in different directions. There are tents and fires and things like that, all filtering to holes that are within the cave ceiling. So it's very clear that it is going upward. And she kind of gestures with her head for you to enter.
Seven enters, still keeping a good eye on his compatriots.
You hear her speak once more in this strange language to these people, who nod and go and take your companions off to a somewhat larger tent compared to the rest. This elderly woman sees them, speaks to someone younger than her next to her, who nods and begins quickly helping your friends to basically give them the remedy for the toxin that they had just been forcibly ingested. The lovely old lady that you just said hello to clearly does not understand you, but knows that from the aura you are exuding do not mean her harm, and so she smiles and basically begins getting to work.
What's this?
She just looks over to the younger woman and goes, speaks in her language, and the woman looks to you and goes, "This," and it's rather broken as she speaks, "this will help with toxin." Done?
Aye. Alright. Do what you need to do.
Why is there red?
Ava begins moving and says, "It will take your friends at least an hour to readjust to everything."
Am I
All right.
again?
Some welcoming party.
It's not very often that we have people roaming through the dead mire.
Aye. Fair enough. Fair enough. Can't say the last visit went any smoother anyways.
She just gives you a non-committal grunt as she leads you to basically your aunt, the chiefess of Vexath, and her wife. You see when you enter this woman, similarly to a lot of the people that you had encountered when you first arrived at the Dead Mire, wiry built, not thin, but decently well built and muscled, similarly dark skin to the rest of her people, except for your sister, Ava. You see two other masks hanging from these wooden posts. And you can actually see that they have a section of the cave dedicated to themselves by their people. Cloth that are dyed and painted with various animals and symbols and things like that. There is a small fire going in the center. There seems to be something cooking that smells very, very hearty. Your aunt, she doesn't necessarily have. She's never really given her formal, like, proper birth name, but she is known as Cattail due to the very long, dark braid that comes down from her scruffy haircut down to basically almost grazing the floor. You also see that her wife, a young, gnomish woman, sitting near her. You know her as Bella. Bella stands with a smile when she sees you and goes, "Seven! It's so good to see you again."
Hi.
Is everything alright? Did Ava not welcome you properly?
Well, what counts as a proper welcome in these parts nowadays?
You see your other aunt, you see Cattail looks to you and sort of huffs out a bit of a laugh and goes, "I'm guessing that your friends are unconscious."
Aye. Well, semi.
She nods and goes, "Right. Ava, what did we tell you about using toxins?" Ava just kind of... Chisel, you are with Redwood in the tent.
I'm fine.
Chisel's voice is just so loud it echoes through the village.
Yeah, it echoes in the cave.
I'm fine. I don't need this red thing.
Last time that you had seen your aunt Cattail, she had all of her limbs. She had a couple of scars from dealing with some beasts that, any hunter in the Deadmire would potentially encounter. She actually has a sort of hanging at like a trophy on the wall is some gator skin that she had got, and you know for a fact that one of her scars is a big bite mark on her torso from personally wrestling with one when she was younger. And it's kind of something that she shows up loud and proud up within her sort of area and her space. But you do notice she is now missing an arm.
Seven just kind of calmly with arms crossed back against one of the walls. What happened there?
She looks at the missing appendage. The area, it's very clear that when she lost it at the shoulder. So there's like a cloth kind of covering that part to both hide the scarring and the injury, and basically just like a show of decency. And goes, that one. Well, I'm sure you are very well accustomed to the blight by this point.
I slayed a few beasties from it.
Well, obviously all of our part of the world is being affected by it, and that does not exclude the already dangerous Deadmire. Creatures transforming, things like that. There is a specific area that is much more consecrated with this blight here within the mire, and it has been sending all manner of creatures to attack.
Right. So, what do you need me to shoot and kill?
Ava just kind of goes over to your aunt and kind of whispers to her. Your sister is much taller than your aunt. Your aunt is she's still, full elf, but she's not as tall as you or your sister or your family ever were.
I was also thinking, like, small old lady.
Mm-hmm.
Grumpy old lady.
And you hear your sister kind of whispering to your aunt, going, "We don't need his help. I got it under control." And Cattail goes, "No, you don't. And he is your brother. We will not be turning family away. Not in this age, not in this day. Do you understand me?" You see Ava grumble as she goes, just kind of, and kind of stomps off. And since you're in her way as she leaves, she doesn't bother
Ow.
to move, but she does shoulder check you.
I'm not sure how in the way I can be, considering I'm leaning back against a wall.
But I'll say that's very clear that she purposely tried to like bump into you. And
Mhm.
you notice that in the past few years since you last saw her, you like almost stumble a bit. She has spent a good deal of time understanding these people's traditions and ways that it has hardened her, it has made her stronger. She doesn't use a bow and arrow like you do, but it doesn't mean that she's not any less capable.
Hmm.
You see Cattail just kind of sigh and rub her forehead, the wrinkles very prominent. Despite how old she is, you can tell that her age is finally starting to catch up to her. Considering even though she's an elf. She just kind of sighs and goes, "I'm sorry about that, Seven."
It's alright. I don't blame her.
How is your condition, by the way?
Controlled.
Have you learned anything about it?
Aye, here and there. Nothing to get your hopes over, though.
I think you and I need to sit down and have a bit of a talk.
Honestly, I disagree. You need my help? I'm here to help. Just show me what's been causing the problems. Me and my compatriots will kill it and get it all cleared out. Then we're on to our next mission.
Evan, you know that's not what I mean.
Hmm.
He hasn't seen you in 5 years.
Aye, that's on purpose.
This is not the time to distance yourself from your own family.
Like you did when you left the village to come down here.
Don't do that.
Just being honest.
You see your aunt. Your aunt is a very imposing figure, and her authority begins to sort of radiate in this moment, despite her lack of limb. And she goes, "Listen here, boy, for that is what you are. You've made mistakes. I get that. Things happen beyond our control. But she is your sister. She is the only living blood besides myself that you have left. And you have been keeping yourself from her for 5 years. Do you know how resentful she has become because you thought you abandoned her? It goes...
Better
It,
she hates me than being dead.
7. You are the only person that she can consider caring about that's still left alive. The reason she called you here is because I'm stepping down from my position.
And
She is taking the mantle.
I don't see how that involves me.
Because a person of blood needs to be at the ceremony.
Oh, yeah. Right.
She just kind of sighs and runs a hand through her hair and go, Obviously, I do not know the exact details as to what happened to you and your sister up in the mountains. But it's been 5 years. 5 years of me raising a spiteful, terrified young girl who thought her mother just went on a murder spree and then up and abandoned her. You never gave her any details, you never explained yourself. She would be more understanding if you did instead of hiding it from her. Because it is not my place to tell her.
Honestly, I don't know if it would make a shitload of difference. You can tell her all you want. Say whatever you want. At this point, I don't care. So long as she's living and safe.
Your aunt just shakes her head and goes, "Fine." But
If that's all, I'll head back to my friends now.
she will be helping you.
I figured. Chief just gotta prove herself and all that.
You watch her glare at you. Get the hell out of my sight.
Gladly. And Steven walks out.
Redwood, Chisel, you both are finally freed of the influence of the toxins. Redwood, you awake in a cave. There is a woman sitting near you, seemingly stitching something together with thick leather cord, and when she sees you begin to stir, she sits up, and she begins speaking in a language. What languages do you know?
I know Common, Elven, Draconic, and Druidic.
You do not know the language that she is speaking at all. But it doesn't seem like she's speaking to you. She's speaking to someone outside of your peripheral, like out of your vision. And then she speaks in broken Common. Are you okay?
Redwood gives like a very stiff thumbs up.
Oh, good. We'll take 10 or so more minutes before fully freed. She kind of gives herself like a look as if like, is that the word I was supposed to use? Toxin. Guard? As if saying those things would make more sense to you.
Stupid.
Sorry?
Redwood like kind of just shakes his head.
You see her speak, you hear an older woman's voice speak from somewhere away from you. And Seven, you enter the tent where your friends are.
How are they doing?
Your friends look very confused.
I kind of expected that. But how you feeling? Still a little woozy?
Shrub just kind of...
I feel like my legs are on fire from the waist down, and that's mildly terrifying.
Shrub shakes her head and goes, everything has been fuzzy for the past hour.
I give it another hour or so, you'll be fine.
What?
Can you give me a summary? What the hell happened?
So, you know the people we were going to find? And my sister and all that?
Your sister?
Aye. Oh, did I tell you that?
She was
No.
pretty.
Yes, Chisel. Well, they found us. We're in their village now.
And they shot us.
They're not the type of... They're a wary folk of outsiders.
Actually, with a touch of thought to it, yes, I can see anyone related to you being shoot first, questions later.
Har har.
Grub just kind of. Actually,
Haha, I still can't feel my toes.
You'll be fine. Stop being a baby about it.
Redwood. Roll me an insight check. Seven, roll me deception.
Oh, okay.
May I roll insight as well?
21.
If you
Or
would
am I
like,
not here?
if you would like to roll insight, you may roll insight. Oh my
Oh, that's
god!
a nat 1 on deception.
That's a 9.
Still beats the natural one.
Seven, describe to me the emotions that you are going through at this moment after that.
It is a weird mixture of shame, anger, despair, and just anxiety.
Oh, you don't like your phone. Oh. Oh.
So it's not that. Well, except for one, maybe. It's just complicated.
How fast should we be leaving here?
As soon as possible.
Alright.
Granted, that's just me speaking. Once you get to know them, they can be friendly folks. Just for me personally. We just gotta do what we came here to do and get out.
Oh. Okay. Granted, I don't remember what we came here to do.
Aye, that's because we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. I just got a necklace telling me to come here. They needed me. And now I know. So, I guess it's technically two things. First thing, the Blight's here as well. They've been causing it. They've been having some troubles with it. So we're probably going to help them with that, whatever that may be. Some beasties or one big beast. And my auntie, who's the chief of this here village, is stepping down. And my sister's taking her place. And they just need me there as a blood relative for the ceremony.
You not.
Aye. Cattail's
Aye,
what
you-
they call her.
Cattail.
Aye.
We come to another strange forest and there are people named after plants.
He's a
Interesting.
cactus.
She does have a proper name. That's the name I've always known her by.
Ah, never mind then.
You hear a set of footsteps, and you see a man come in, peek his head and speak in that odd language to the woman that was looking after you for a moment before she goes. The chief wishes to speak to companions.
Alright. Chisel, you good there, lad?
You look over and you notice Chisel is not there.
Bloody hell.
I mean, he's blind. Shrub, go find him.
Okay.
Not blind currently.
He's not. He has vision for another hour.
Hour. I'm making the most of it.
Of course, Brian gets sight and immediately uses it to cause chaos.
He's just sightseeing. You automatically assume chaos.
Well,
I know it's Brian. I know it's Brian.
we're
I
going.
haven't
we're
done
going-
anything.
We're going to get to that in a moment. Shrub goes, okay, I'll do my best. Where do I need to go when I do find him? Do I just stay with him, or...
7
Um,
points Shrub to where the chiefess area is.
Okay.
Would-
She...
I have an interesting question.
Oh?
Would I be able to see through Shrub's senses? As a sort of find familiar type deal, or no? As a familiar type deal.
Considering that you're not entirely sure what Shrub fully is,
Time to experiment.
and that would be something that you could potentially find out, but it's not something that you currently know about, because Shrub has always been by your side.
Oh, wait. Ooh, I've wanted to try this. Redwood is like, he shuffles himself up to sit against the back of the bed. And he is going to start pulling a little bit of magical energy in front of his chest. A little cotton, what's the fucking term? Like a cloud of magic the size of a loaf of bread. And he is going to start trying to manipulate it and pull it.
Okay.
Sure.
Where were
Sorry.
you hoping to find with that description?
What?
What term were you thinking of with that
I have my
description?
hands in front of me trying to speak with my hands, and I'm like, what size is this? This is bigger than a baseball, bigger than a softball. It's smaller than a
watermelon?
watermelon.
Is it
I'm like, well, this
are
is
you
like a
thinking-
handmade loaf of bread.
Are you thinking of
So
the term football?
that's
That's a little.
much better.
Yeah. Just,
Um,
it's a loaf of bread
I
made
would-
out of magic.
For any potential British watchers out there, we mean American football.
Shub, come here for
Magic
2 seconds.
little-
And Redwood's going to like pluck a couple of hairs and he's going to sprinkle it into the cloud, and he's going to start condensing it and like pulling it like taffy until the red accents in the magic start becoming a little bit brighter, start arcing a little bit. And as it sort of condenses and pulls apart in this consistent taffy motion, Redwood ends up with this rubber band of lightning and light. And he starts to wrap it between his fingers and pull. And as he does so, I'm going to cast Message.
Oh.
Chisel, where are you?
Jizzle,
Who's this?
you suddenly
Wait.
hear Redwood's voice speaking to you, even though he is nowhere there.
I must. Okay, it's either this headband is making
I
me
would
hear voices, or
roll.
Redwood's dead, and just he's haunting me.
Roll. I will say, roll me an intelligence check.
Just either Redwood's dead.
You're
he's haunting me.
you're pretty sure Redwood is speaking to you beyond the grave.
Chisel, this is Redwood. I need to know where you are.
Are you planning to
you-
haunt me,
you think-
spirit man?
You think that, unlike you, the toxins might have killed Redwood.
Just, I will avenge you, Redwood.
Event? Chisel, what the hell are you talking about?
I will make them pay.
Oh my god.
Chisel? What do you think is going on?
You died, right?
No, I was going to show this to you earlier, but this is how I'm connecting some of the magic. I will
Why is
explain
in
it
my
more.
hand?
I will explain it further later. Think of it like me shouting to you from across the room, just inside your head. I am alive. I am okay. Where the hell are you?
Roll me a perception check. You are
That
in...
I do not know.
Actually, you kind of have an idea as to where you are. You passed by a rather larger tent that seems to be kind of more blocking off a section of the cave. And you also, like, you are currently in an area that looks like people are training. Like, you see people are sparring. There's some people off in the distance shooting arrows. You actually also see Thevin's sister there. She seems to be very aggressively sparring multiple people. She has a stone dagger in her hand, and she is just going to town on these guys, and they are probably like twice her size.
Well, I walked around a giant tent, and I'm with the pretty lady.
That is interesting. Chisel,
Any
The chiefess needs to speak with us. If you could ask someone where to go, we could probably get that wrapped up quickly. And then I can show you this magic before you lose sight again.
Well,
Please?
the only person I know here that I actually don't know who to talk to. I don't understand what these
Just,
people are
like,
saying.
About something in common. Say I'm like, just say I'm lost or something.
Devin goes for Redwood's like, just tell him to talk to the pretty lady.
Just be very polite, cause she is Devin's sister. Um, be very polite and ask Devin's sister to, like, point to you, at least, in the direction of the chiefess. If not,
think
I
she
will
likes
have to
sugar
send
bread.
Shrub to go find you.
Do you think she likes sugar bread? Or do you
I
think
mean,
she thinks it's too sweet?
I think she will think it's too sweet. Devin is a bit of a weirdo on that one.
Oi!
You are.
I
Just please find your way to us so that we don't lose you.
will try.
Thank you. And then Redwood is going to release the band and let that dissipate back in the smoke.
Convenient little trick you pulled there.
I figured healing magic allows me to connect to another person, and so I was able to use a little bit of that magical connection and figure out how to connect to another person. And so it was honestly just the point of then taking a little bit of magic connection like I have with Shrub.
Devin just stares at him blankly as
The
he's
eyes
explaining
slowly start drifting apart.
It's literally just Gemfrey's, like, one eye is higher up an angle than the other.
I learned to make a spell.
There you go.
That seems a little bit more simple for us to understand than that.
I hoped and thought someone else would be interested in the theory of magic, considering it's 90% of the world around us.
Honestly, I don't need to know how it works so long as it works.
Yes, but if your magic connection goes out, then it'd be very important for you to learn how to get that back.
We are
Honestly,
going... Oh,
I can survive just fine just with my skills alone. I don't really depend on magic.
we are going to, for the sake of my sanity, jump back over to Chisel.
Yeah, that's a first.
That's a big first.
Chisel, you are back at the presumed training grounds. You see still... After that conversation, you watched as Steven's sister Ava just kind of swept and took out one of these big burly men. She is fighting a total of 4 people on all sides of her right now, and she has reduced their numbers. And it very much looks like she is outmatched. But then she does some full-on, like, Black Widow shit. She, like, uses the wall of the cave behind her to jump and gain leverage before landing on the shoulders of the other, using her body weight to twist the guy, like, twist the man's torso in the opposite direction of where he was facing, full-on smacking him into the ground, and you do hear what sounds like a crack of some sort as he hits the hard stone of the cave floor. She then slides between the other guy's legs, and as she's sliding, she basically puts her heel, like, against his butt and pushes, resulting in him flying forward a little bit as he tries to catch his footing. And the last person, a woman specifically, has 2 sets of daggers in her hands as well, and basically goes for simultaneous swipes, like one after the other, over her head. She ducks. You actually do see a small bit of hair suddenly come off and fall into the air, and suddenly she becomes very much more aggressive. And you also see something a little odd. Her ears, that were once just normal elven ears, grow fur.
Well, I don't know what normal elven ears look like.
You literally just saw Thevin.
I've only seen 2 elves. 3.
You make my head hurt. You also saw Nestor and Piper.
5 elves.
That's a
That
pretty.
is not.
That is pretty consistent.
Van Kashale.
Ven Kushale, thank you.
6.
You know what elf ears look like. Shut up.
I thought Van Kashali was human.
Ven Kushale is an elf.
Okay.
You see her ears begin to grow fur and become more animal-like. They're still at the sides of her head, but they're definitely odd. You also see her eyes turn to slits and darken around their edges. And you see her bare her teeth. As she just releases a deep animal-like growl before...
I have a question. I have not seen Thevin's transformations, but I have heard it and have seen basically
it.
felt it, sensed it. Do I get the same feeling from that with her transformation?
You do not.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to step in then, because...
You watch her actually take her arm and clothesline this woman, and does like a WWE move where she runs forward and then immediately uses her body weight to slam this woman down onto her back. The man who had previously been tripped up, she immediately uses her momentum in kind of like a Russian dance style where they're like on their knees and spins herself and elbows this guy in the crotch, resulting him in immediately going down. Before she stands up and drops the daggers that she was holding.
Well, seeing that she is now done, I'm going to walk up, trying not to seem as like a threat or anything, and just wait till she turns around to face me.
Do not rush the warrior lady.
You hear her take a deep breath, her muscles and her back relax, and you see the fur disappear. And she hears your footsteps approach, and she turns to you and goes, "You're one of Thevin's friends."
And you are a pretty lady, and I was supposed to ask the pretty lady, how do I get to the chief's tent?
She releases a breath, kind of drops her head for a moment, and basically walks you to where the chief's tent is. This is where it is.
Thank you. Chisel just walks in. I'm guessing I'm the first one here.
Well,
Considering
Redwood.
Redwood's having a hard time walking, probably.
Yeah, you're probably the first one there. You see in this space there is a woman who looks kind of similar to Thevin, except instead of her eyes being blue, they're much more of a gray. Her hair has streaks of gray and white in it from age, and you see this long braid that grazes the floor as she walks. You see
Allowing.
you see crow's feet and things like that, and she hears your entrance and goes, "Oh, hello, you must be one of the outsiders.
I am Chisel.
Pleasure to meet you. I am Cattail, and this is my wife, Bella."
Allowing.
You see her look over, and her eyes widen and goes, "Another gnome! Hi! Oh my goodness! It's a pleasure to meet you. May I ask where you're
I'm going to switch into Gnomish and say, I am Chisel of the Knotted Rise.
You watch as her eye, she brightens up a little bit, having not speaking in Gnomish for a very long time, as she also switches to the language and goes, "It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm from I'm from the coast. I used to live at the Golden Sanctum before coming here. What are you doing all the way down in the Dead Mire?
Yeah. I don't know.
Pardon?
I don't know. I don't really get told things, mostly because I forget to start listening. I have a hard time sitting still, and I was not supposed to be moving yet, so...
The dark toxin can be rather nasty, so I understand. Well, welcome to Flexath. It's a pleasure to have you. God, it's been so long since I've seen another gnome. Especially here. You know, gnomes don't normally travel this far down south, so it's rather fascinating. It's rather nice to see one of my own kind within the village.
Believe me. Mostly because I haven't been able to speak Gnomish in, how many full moons has it been? I think it's been 8 full moons?
Oh, wow, so you've been out of the mountains for a while.
Yes.
Wait, I think... Are you part of that stonemason family?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Born, raised, and proud.
my goodness, it's a pleasure to have you, and it's a pleasure to meet you. Wow. She just seems a little starstruck for a moment. She goes, well, would you like something to eat? We have some stew prepping, which will be ready in shortly, if you would like.
Anything non-meat?
She kind of nods and smiles and goes, just give me one moment. And you see her kind of go off, similar to how some of the homes that you had encountered in Emuum had different rooms that went further underground. This is kind of similar in that it's a separate tunnel that goes into a different room, and you just kind of hear her moving things around and stuff like that before coming back with a basket full of different fruits and things like that, and breads and things. And she just kind of puts them down next to you and goes, eat your fill.
So, since I have a question, and I don't want to seem rude or anything. When has the last time you've ever had mushroom bread?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I think it's... See, when I met Cattail, I was actually born and raised within the Golden Sanctum. And so it's been a very long time. It's very hard to find mushrooms that are edible around here, considering that this is a bog, and you can never tell what's poisonous or not. So it's very risky to go foraging for them.
Well, do I have a treat for you? And Chisel just reaches in and he grabs his rations and just produces like 5 slices of different colored bread. 5 different mushroom breads.
You watch her eyes once again just purely light up in joy at this, and you see in the peripheral of your vision that her wife, Cattail, has sat down by the fire and is tending to the stew, but she's like watching this with a smile. It's very clear that, you know, Bella hasn't been in touch with her roots for a very long time. And I'm actually going to say, due to your kindness, you have advantage on any insight and charisma checks with Bella.
So I don't know how useful that's going to be.
Just saying that it is something that you have.
Yes.
Now, Redwood, do you eventually make it to the tent? And Thevin, do you go to the tent, or do you decide to spend your time somewhere else?
Thev's gonna keep an eye on his friends, so he goes with them.
You guys
So
just
is it
walk
this
in and
building?
see Chisel sitting down, just munching on colored bread.
Yeah, you guys walk in. You see the chiefess. She's tending to the soup within the pot over the fire. And you see Chisel speaking to the chiefess's wife, Bella, both of them going back and forth in a language neither of you understand. But they're talking and it's very animated and she's very excited and so is Chisel. And they're, whatever they're talking about has them excited, and he's giving her pieces of this weird colored bread that you've never seen before as they continue to speak with each other. You are seeing two people of the same culture interacting for the first time, I think, in a very long
Almost
while.
a year.
Yeah, for a very long while.
Let them have their fun.
Of course. So are we waiting till stew is done?
Up the cat, I guess.
It's almost ready. You may take a seat.
Okay. Redwood is going to keep his distance from the two having fun. Sit himself down.
Redwood, roll me an insight check.
Natural 20.
Ooh.
It's my night, guys.
Yeah, apparently.
Except getting shot.
It is a very good night, except for getting shot. You feel an odd... When you sit down with Thefin and Cattail, there is a tension in the air. You don't feel it in, like, the aura that's next to you of Chisel and Bella doing their thing, but you feel it with Cattail and Thefin being next to you on your other side. There is something there, unspoken, between the two of them. And it's in this moment that you realize that it's anger from Cattail to Thevin, and stubbornness from Thevin to Cattail.
Redwood is getting two different vibes from two different sides of the room, so he's going to scooch towards the middle. Shrub, I learned a new trick. You want to see something?
Shrub just kind of approaches and goes, "What is it?"
Okay. This one's a little bit different, and Redwood is going to again pull that energy from his chest and sort of swirl it in his palm into a circle and just keep spinning it until it starts thinning out. And again, that little electric red wire. And he's going to wrap it between a couple of his fingers. He's like, okay, trust me on this. He's going to use Mage Hand to just pick her up.
Shrub at first is very confused, because Mage Hand is invisible, right?
Absolutely.
So she's like seeing the magic just suddenly disappear slowly and then starts getting lifted up, and you see her eyes widen as she looks around the room as she suddenly is like 5 feet off the ground and goes, "Well, what's happening?"
I have learned a light spell.
Jeez, you're just full of new spells, aren't you?
Shrub begins attempting to like walk. You see her like legs start to move and goes, "Oh, I can't control it."
Oh no, well, this one is sort of a mix between the Wild Cunning spell and summoning things, and then the Healing Spirit, which you're able to move around using telekinesis.
You see a similar reaction to how Thevin was, where her eyes just start going in different directions as she's trying to understand.
Just let's fly around. He's going to like fly Shrub in circles sort of above his head.
Whee!
Guys, Mage Hand is actually seeable. Githyanki's Mage Hand is not.
Oh,
No.
Okay, so she can't.
So then it's just outside of her field of vision.
Yeah, so she doesn't.
Just sort of
Basically
scooping
holding
her
her
up.
by the scruff.
You guys.
No, it's 4 fingers underneath her stomach, sort of picking her up.
You guys just kind of see her being held hot dog style by this hand that she didn't see before. As she gets kicking her legs around back and forth, and you just kind of hear soft little wheeze as she moves around the room from this mage hand. You are seeing a fox not understand how magic works, being lifted around through magic and having a blast.
I honestly think like Redwood has like a good and solid breath that he knows that this works now.
in other words, since you did get that nat 20 in insight, I will say Devin's vibe is softening a bit as he is like smiling, chuckling underneath his mask.
The chiefess eventually clears her throat and goes, "Well, I would be a bad host if I didn't offer you all anything to drink. Any preferences?"
Just water.
She kind of looks over to
I
Seven. You sure?
yeah, water.
She nods. Roll me an insight check.
All right.
You're getting vodka no matter what.
Well, let's see. It's an 11.
Even with only an 11, you could see that was her trying to extend a hand out to you, and you just basically, like an annoyed cat, swatted that away.
Bap.
Yep. She nods and goes over to Chisel and kindly asks, "Is there anything that I can get you to drink?"
What are my options?
She kind of
Forgetting to switch back to common. Just, sorry. What are my options?
Water, if various alcohols. I'm sure my wife can give you a recommendation.
Oh, she getting jealous.
No, she's not. That wasn't. What?
Obviously, my wife can tell you, and no.
That's not what I meant.
Chisel the home wrecker.
Not even. Mostly by accident.
Funny thing is,
But
that's creepy as fuck considering how
Yes.
no mage works.
yes, it is. Well, do you have any wildberry wine?
We do.
No, probably not. That's a mostly gnomish.
Actually, that is something we do have.
Yes, please.
She nods and smiles. Gathers everyone's drinks. They're all in drinking horns, but you can see that, the one drinking horn is very much still see-through. Two of them actually are still very much see-through with water, and Chisel's drink is a little darker, along with the one that she carries for her wife. As she hands the two waters to you, Seven and Redwood, and then hands the two alcoholic beverages to her wife and to Chisel. But she doesn't grab anything for herself to drink. And she sits back down and goes, "So, let's have a chat. A reason that Ava summoned Seven and therefore the rest of you here is because she will be taking my position as chiefess. She needed a blood relative there to be witness to the ceremony."
Oh, that's wonderful then.
Yes.
Is it?
She is rather young, even for an elf. So, it is a little stressful for her.
Oh yeah, sorry to break, but if we take it seriously about everyone's canonical ages of just being like youngins,
Basically teenagers, yeah.
basically teenagers, Thevin's sister is younger than Thevin by a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
So take that as you will.
You're how old again?
Thevin's like human-wise, so not human-wise, but like in his 20s.
Yeah. So that means that Ava is in her teens.
Yeah.
Cattail
Is
just
it still a good thing?
Cattail nods and goes, "She is ready for it. I have taught her everything that I could." She sighs and runs a hand through the mess that is her hair and goes, "That, however, is a much more civil matter compared to what else we are going to be requesting your help for. With the Blight, the rest of the world has been plagued, and that does not exclude our lands. Something, we're not entirely sure what, has infected the land. Animals that normally are docile and would leave us alone have begun attacking our people out on hunts. There have been incidences where they even come to our front doorstep. No one has been able to get relatively close except for Ava and her men. So, considering that your namesake has already begun traveling throughout all of Umaria, we suppose we could ask for your help. And after that, you could be on your merry way.
Alright then.
Sounds dangerous, but that's unfortunately what we signed up for. Also, a namesake?
When there's nothing else to do, word gets around easy, especially when it comes to the Fae being involved.
Okay, but what is our namesake? I was not aware we had a name.
You were chosen by the oracles, were you not?
Well, the oracles kind of just picked us up and then died. So, technically?
Let me be more specific. Words of your deeds have traveled throughout the lands, the Woodrow Expanse, the hills, and the forest. It's not exactly like one can go stealthily gallivanting around close to the Golden Sanctum looking for a very particular holy item, while also taking down a man-turned-beast without word quickly getting around.
That's fair.
She sighs and just kind of rubs her face and goes, right. Ava will be the one leading your expedition, as she was the one who mapped out the path that she had taken before she had to retreat for her previous scouting mission. You will all leave with her scouting party midday tomorrow. Within 3 days' time, her ceremony for her becoming chiefess will occur. She looks to Thevin specifically as she says this and goes, I expect people to be civil.
Hey, Hunter's code and all that, right?
You see she scowls for a moment, takes a deep breath, and goes, but that is all from me. If you want any more details, you can talk to Ava. She then takes several wooden bowls, scoops some soup into them, hands one to you, Thevin, and Redwood, and Chisel. Actually, she doesn't hand one to you, Chisel. You're eating vegetarian food. She hands one to her wife, and then kind of moves off into the separate room to go and do her own sort of business.
Devin just begins eating, not terribly fast, but definitely not at a slow pace.
So we just got here. We're doing
You see,
doing a ritual in a few days and doing a mission to kill more blight tomorrow.
Tomorrow midday we go hunt down the blights. Then a few days there's a whole ceremony, and then we can get out of here.
That shouldn't be too hard.
I mean, we've already,
Can I
what?
smack Redwood in the shins?
Using your last bit of sight.
Yeah, this is your
Just-
last bit of sight, so if you want to hit him, I will let you. You will need to meet his AC, but roll to hit. I would say this is an unarmed strike because you're not actively using your hammer!
Oh, he's using the hammer.
Okay,
17 does beat my AC.
okay, roll the damage.
Jesus, fuck!
Break his shins. Chisel, what was that fat about?
I
We
think that
do
drops the
not-
concentration on Mage Hand.
You just hear a ah, and a solid thump as she meets concrete or stone from her being suddenly dropped a few feet.
My great aunt always told me, never tempt fate. Guess what you just
Sarcasm.
did?
It was sarcasm, you pint
Fate doesn't
bastard.
care.
Why did I stop flying?
It's because
Fate
Chisel
doesn't
broke the
care.
spell.
He was tempting fate.
Actually,
You
Mage Hand
got-
is not concentration, but still.
She just kind of rolls over and just kind of looks at you sad and goes, "That hurt."
Hey, we can do more flying practice later.
It's okay, little one, as Devin reaches into his satchel and pulls out a squirrel.
Brub quickly perks up her ears, snatches it, and runs out of the tent.
Well, I guess she's eaten.
Bella,
You did already feed her, did you?
Well, she doesn't eat soup.
Oh yeah, so I didn't know you fed her earlier or something.
Does she eat?
I was unconscious.
she does.
You never know.
She does eat, but it's not like she needs to eat as much as a normal fox would. It's kind of the same as like putting fuel to a fire. You don't have to do it too often, but you do need to do it in order to keep the fire going. She's also a fox, so
Yeah. Just. Oh. And there it goes as Chisel's view just slowly darkens once more.
Okay, you'll have it tomorrow.
what's
Devin kind of
what's
carefully creeps towards Chisel, waving his hand in front of his face.
something that you had all noticed whenever the circlet was activated on his head is that his eyes, their violet color, were much brighter and much more vivid, and now they are back to the dull sort of color that they were before his vision had been returned to him. His pupils are still very much white, but his eyes were very noticeably different.
I'll never take advantage of it again.
Evan, he can hear you. He's going to hit you with the fucking hammer.
First off, no, he didn't hear me. Second off, he's hit me with the hammer before. I'll be fine.
Coughs because of
Evan.
cracked rib. Seven.
Chisel's now just a little depressed, not being able to see anymore.
Ah, cheer up, lad. You remember what Vin Casale said? It's once a day. So, tomorrow, you have 2 more hours of sight. Just gotta be patient. Who knows? Maybe somewhere along our quest, we can find a way to make it permanent.
Patience is not a Rockwood way. It never has.
You. All of a sudden, all of you start hearing shouting from outside the tent. It is in that very odd language that you heard when you all arrived. And
What is that language?
Chisel, now being a distraction, bolts outside.
Do I recognize the voices?
you do.
Hmm.
You recognize your sister. You don't. Well, actually, no. Your sister is the only one you recognize, but you do hear other voices beginning to speak as well. Some a little bit more panicked, some more authoritative in tone. You see your sister is actually beginning to start speaking commands and things like that as she grabs her equipment once more, pulls the mask over her face as she begins walking towards the entrance of the cave itself.
That's tomorrow.
Devin is going to stealthily follow.
You see her making various hand gestures and a silently commanding various people around her, all of them very obviously warriors, as they also pick up their weapons. Some pick up bows and actually begin to they actually go into some side tunnels. And you're not exactly sure where they're going, but you can tell that they're following some sort of orders that she's giving. As outside, the closer you get to the cave entrance, you hear boom, 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 as heavy footfalls of something. And a slight roar mixed with a huff from outside.
Devin draws his bow and knocks an arrow as he goes to investigate.
You look out and you see the archers that had taken those side tunnels are now up top of the cave. It looks like there was an area made with hardened clay to make like a flat platform on top of the cave itself, covered in moss, that the archers are all standing at and pointing down at whatever it is that's making the noise. And outside, you see people and animals. The animals are very much painted in the sort of tribal-like way that the people that are, like, basically commanding them are. You see that these people are wearing more, like, leathers. They're much dirtier. Their paint is very much red. In fact, roll me perception or investigation.
I'll do perception.
I'll do perception as well.
That's a total of 17.
It's a 4.
7, you squint for a moment, looking at these people. You realize for a moment the thing that they're wearing around their necks, their wrists, their ankles, some of them on their heads, are human bone. The leather that they have been wearing is tanned human skin.
Sounds like what I do in Grimworld.
Oh, great. Cannibals.
You hear them speak back in this odd language to your sister and to her warriors, and she very aggressively responds. And the people across seem to laugh. There's only a handful of them. There's specifically one guy in the group that is rather large, but he looks rather oddly deformed. Like he has like some sort of birth defect.
As this is all going on, Thevin is going to stealth and pretty much hold action. If any of them fires on his sister, he's going to shoot whoever fired or try to attack her.
Okay.
Oh, you do care.
You wait as these negotiations begin to happen. And if you would like, Thevin, you may roll me an intelligence check.
May I as
to
well?
Start translating some of the words that you are hearing.
That's an 11.
You don't.
May I as well?
You don't get anything. Chisel, you may try.
I feel like to Thevin, he doesn't need to know exactly what they're saying, but as soon as something violent happens, he knows to react.
That is a save, my friend.
Whoops, button.
Redwood, you begin picking up pieces of the conversation. Something about it is somewhat elvish, but there's also mixtures of other things in there that kind of make some of the words hard to understand. But you hear, flesh tear from the one side with the people wearing the human bones and human skin, and then you hear Ava go back. Essentially, short end of it, basically summarized and also nicer said than what she would actually have been saying is, you better back the fuck up before I attack. This is my land and you're encroaching on my territory.
Like brother, like sister.
You see the leader, he's like wearing like a proper human skull on his head and wrapped in other sort of human bones. And all of you notice kind of simultaneously that each of the eyes of the cannibals start to glow a purple, and the eyes, or like the whites of the eyes, turn black. We will pick up next session with initiative. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoy the 20-sided archives. If you would like to see our next episode, tune in on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. EST. The next episode of Chronicles of Umaria, Chapter 1, Shadow Falls. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye!
Goodbye.